I was watching
Okay.
Netflix at my desk while I did this, and I finished all of Arcane before I was done. That's
All
12
of
hours of polishing and restarting.
What? Hi YouTube! Welcome in. I hope you enjoy this little hobby making of playing with mud. Thanks for clicking on the video and enjoy.
Did you know that you can polish mud until it has a mirror-like surface? In
No.
Japan, they took playing in the dirt and turned it into an art. This is
The
the
heck?
art of Dorodango, a simple children's pastime where we turn this
Dorodango?
into this. And in this video, I'm going to show you how it's done. Now, they're not really
Whoa.
sure when the first
That's
shiny mud ball was
cool.
made, but it got repopularized in Japan in 1999 by a child psychology professor who observed
What?
kids making them at a preschool. He developed his own method,
Really?
and after a piece aired on TV about the phenomenon, the hobby took off. To me, there's just something intriguing about it, so I wanted to
That's
try it for
kind of
myself.
cool. Did you
So
try
went
that?
out and
I
got
did
some dirt.
not.
And the first step
I
once
didn't
we
know
get
this
home
existed.
is to sift it all. We're looking for the finest particles possible. It should look something like this.
Oh, that looks so satisfying. I want to put my hand in that dirt.
Now, being from Virginia, all we had around my house was red clay, so I also want to try one with that. And if you do use clay, you're going to have to
Oh.
mix it about half and half with sand. That'll prevent it from cracking when it dries out and shrinks. Since I've never
more
done this
you
before,
learn.
I thought it was a good idea to experiment with a small one first.
You can
This
just get dirt from
measuring was
outside? No. I need to go back to Japan and take Japan dirt. Sorry, chap. I'm just saying I gotta go back to Japan. This is the reason I'll go back to Japan. Dorodango.
Unnecessary, but I started with 100 grams of soil and 35 of water. Your soil's definitely going to be different, so don't worry about it too much. I'll show you the consistency we're going for in a second. Spend some time massaging the dirt so everything's nice and homogeneous, and you should end up with
Massage
a
your
dough-like
dirt.
consistency. So add a bit of dirt or water as needed and keep working it. After that, you can compress it and shape it into a ball, and it should look something like this.
Dirt, chap. Look at that dirt. It actually looks more like dung than dirt, but okay.
Oh, also make sure you don't use all your clay or dirt. You're going to need some of it later. I'm going to leave these to dry overnight, and while that one starts, I'm going to make the clay and sand core.
This one actually looks pretty cool because of the clay element. I like the coloring. This one definitely looks like poop though.
I thought of this after I made the cores, but for shaping and polishing, I think the finer the dirt, the better it's going to be.
Oh
so I grabbed a
my
coffee grinder
God.
and left a fine dirt film on everything in my apartment. In
Oh,
hindsight, I think I
no.
actually would have done this in the beginning and used this for the cores, but oh well.
Okay, I'm not doing that part. That's such a pain to clean after. Yeah, it's a healthy poop. Are we sure about it being healthy?
Grab a jar or something. For this small one, I'm going to use a glass spice jar. And then re-wet the surface and start shaping it. If you make sure to not stay in one spot too long, you should end up with a perfect sphere. I'll show you what the high and low spots look like during this part when I start the clay one.
Okay. So like you're re-wetting it a bunch and then just... Oddly satisfying, I would
Sprinkle a layer
assume
of your
it's
fine
to
dirt
do.
or clay and then wet the mouth of the jar and start working it in.
Wait, what?
Also, don't do this over your plate of dirt or you're just going to be replacing it every 5 minutes. And then
I
once it starts
see.
to dry out, you're going to repeat this process over and over.
So first we're wetting the bowl and now we're wetting the jar instead. And now we're wetting the bowl again. Slowly but surely. Shining the dirt. Man, that looks like it takes a while. When do kids have time for this?
With this test one, I was just kind of trying to figure out how to get a smooth surface, and I definitely hadn't figured out the key yet. But after a couple of hours of messing around, I think I have something that's showing some promise.
Oh!
Even convinced my wife to make one. But as you can see, there's divots all over it still. It looks cool, but not exactly what I'm going for.
Yep.
So the trial and error continued into the
You
evening,
constantly
and
like
here's what we ended up
make
with
it
for the test
circular.
piece.
add more, make it circular again until you end up shining it enough. That does take a very long time, but that's so cool how it
Not
ends
too
up
bad.
looking.
And honestly, pretty cool that you can even do this. But with that test done, time for the big one.
Holy moly, huge macaroni. That's almost the size of my head! I don't think that fits in my palm, chat. I think that's huge. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. Damn.
Now you can see what I mean with the low and high spots when we're shaping the core. But after a while, we've got this perfectly spherical,
Oh,
forbidden
that looks
brownie.
so
And then it's on to the
satisfying.
final challenge.
That looks so satisfyingly nice. Even the sound's not bad. I'm not an ASMR person, but I can see people doing this for ASMR as well. Does this remind anyone else of Cheetos? The color and the dust.
But surprise, surprise, following the exact same process, I was
Didn't
having
work?
the exact same problem. No matter what I did, I always ended up with some really rough spots and some kind of smooth spots. I was watching
Okay.
Netflix at my desk while I did this, and I finished all of Arcane before I was done. That's
All
12
of
hours of polishing and restarting. But I finally figured out what I was doing wrong.
Holy
When it started
shit!
to dry, I would start to see some shine showing up, and so I would just keep polishing. But it turns out it wasn't actually ready yet. All the low spots were never gonna polish away. The technique that
Oh
finally
my
broke the cycle
God.
was to get the jar wet and work it until you get a tacky surface like this. Then
Okay.
sprinkle clay on any of the divots and gently rub them in with your palm. Then cover the
Oh.
whole ball in a thin clay dust.
So it would have
Get
taken
the
him
whole
a lot
surface wet with the
less.
jar and work it until you get back to that giant malt ball look.
So that's a lot more focused effort rather than what he was doing with the arcane
As it's
thing,
drying,
right?
you're kind of spreading that thin layer of mud to fill in all the imperfections. And as you add layer after layer, those imperfections will slowly go away and you'll end up with a perfectly smooth surface.
That's kind of cool. I can imagine, depending on like if you could blend in pigments or colors, you could end
Once
up
the
with
surface is
really
how you
fancy
like,
color.
Don't wet it
balls.
again and just keep polishing.
Maybe.
For me, a little drop of olive oil on the rim of the glass really helped it to slide.
Damn. At this
Then a
point,
little
he's
polish
not
with a
even
cloth,
circular thing
and you're done.
sometimes.
Figuring out how to do this was honestly frustrating and a lot of work. But once I figured it out, it was kind of meditative, and I think I could do it a lot faster the next time. I think I'll definitely do another one in the future, and I really recommend you give this one a try. It's a fun
big
weekend
ball.
project. Thanks for watching, and if you liked that, go check out some of my other projects.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. It was surprising, but I think it's one of those that I would try myself at one point, just like whenever I'm bored for a tiny bit. I don't know, it just sounds fun. Fun to just chillax and do. It's a cool video. YouTube, if you're watching this, thank you for hanging out, and I hope you also enjoyed it. Let me know if you would try making this ball of dirt or not.